the Navy Federal Credit Union is still there.
Yeah. Hey, happy Tuesday. Hooah.
Yeah. And we have some topics. I mean, not exactly some of the topics that we have listed here, because I was just looking at the Babylon Bee. This is kind of funny. Yeah, yeah. It's almost like if you're 8 months years old, and they put a party, they bring up a party for you, and you happen to be in the Jewish community. Mm-hmm. Maybe the piece of cake is not the only thing that's going to be there. Oh, the Babylon Bee, man, I enjoy some of like their humor.
Some of their humor has got to be pretty visual. So for the blind community, it's got to be interesting. For the longest time, I never understood what the deal was with the Babylon Bee. Then I found out that there's a little bee, I guess, is their logo. That's kind of interesting.
Yes. So they're talking about, and this is really weird. If you're in Europe, they don't automatically circumcise you, but in America, they no choice, no nothing. And it's something like, well, unless your parents say, "Hey, no, I don't want that," or whatever.
You want to hear how it's done here?
How's that?
They wait till the boys are 13 or 14 years old, then they cut it off.
Man, now that's
just trauma.
That's what you call a rite of passage right there.
I keep asking the question, why do they wait so late? What's wrong with them? That's just the way we do it. Like,
that's what you call a rite of passage.
That makes young boys not want to ever go back to the doctor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
His moil comes in with the overbite.
Oh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't try this at home. Ladies and gentlemen, don't try this at home. Welcome to the Innervision FM universe. So happy it's Tuesday. This is brought to you by all kind of different sponsors. You can check them out below in the links and everything else. We're live on YouTube and True Social, and we're all over the place.
Yeah, yes,
more ways than one.
Yeah, definitely, man. Because when I had women that I met from Europe, they said, "I thought you were Jewish," and I said, "Why?" And then it was that reason on. I said, "No, nothing to do with any religion or anything like that. It's just something that they just do, and without, yeah."
You know what? When I heard about that when I was a lot younger, it was had to do with prevention of diseases because of the bacteria and stuff that would build up inside the skin. But whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Well, and then I have to question that, because now when the baby's born, they smear their eyes in case of like chlamydia, whether the mother has it or not. And then they give them something else for hepatitis.
Oh yeah, hepatitis B.
Yeah,
and it's like that's a sexually transmitted disease.
Yeah,
you get Hep B. That's sexually transmitted, and they're giving it to these kids, and there's no reason for that. I mean, when Sam was born, she had the first 2 child vaccinations. She just got so sick, had rashes everywhere. You know, the poor child was just miserable. And we said, well, we're done with this. We got no more vaccines after that.
Yeah. So,
and Sammy's healthy as can be.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're doing
most kids too.
They're just doing a lot of things. I mean, and it makes you wonder, like, it's like, why do we have to be they introduce us as a guinea pig as soon as we come out of the womb, even before they have our ID tracking code. So it's like, so there's a lot of just things that make you say, why are they doing this? and the title of the show is will people just vote blue no matter who, and it's
Yeah,
almost like
there's definitely a saying out there: vote blue no matter who. There's also vote red until you're dead.
And I mean, that's 75% of voters on both sides.
Yeah.
Red till you're dead, blue till you're whatever.
Yeah, blue no matter who, and red till you're dead.
People on both sides. You know, it's like, what's wrong with you? You don't use your brain when you vote.
No critical thinking is
no critical thinking whatsoever. They don't care. They don't care.
We had this one politician. He's a veteran and stuff like that. But this other guy he's running against is a very good looking guy. So he went to this lady. He was doing some door knocking, and he went to this young lady's house, and I think she's like maybe like 25 or so. And he was telling her about his running and all that. And she says, "I'm not going to vote for you because the other guy he's a lot better looking than you." And then she slams the door on him. Could you imagine? It's like, wait a minute. But what about our policies? No, he's a good looking guy. I sleep with him, but I wouldn't with you. So I'm going to vote for him. Oh God.
The one thing I did notice is during the DNC as it was going on, one of the ladies mentioned that it was hard to find a good looking Democrat. So you know, she was postulating that she would want to perhaps partake of the forbidden fruit and maybe defect. I don't know. Maybe go Republican.
Now you got to figure out like what's going on with that. Is it the blue hair? Is it pink hair? Is it the demented face?
So if you're a Democrat, you're watching us. Tell us what do you got to say about that? Are the good-looking men on the Republican side, or the good-looking women on the Republican side?
They're still thinking about the circumcision.
They're still lost in the back at the beginning of the show. Yeah, the YouTube moderators are looking at this and going, I just don't know.
Come on. It's universal. It's universl, especially in America.
Fine. Yeah.
If somebody outside the country is watching this and they say, "What are they talking about?" Like, don't worry about it unless you have kids born, or unless you have boys born here in America. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
So, don't worry about it.
Yeah. So then I'm just wondering, because there are some that they actually look like guys. They went through that tomboy phase and they just kept going.
Right.
And so that is kind of interesting. And I used to know these two, and one would dress they both dress up like with a suit and tie. Right. And one was short and one was tall. And one looked like a female, and the other one, looked like, had just that picture of a boy, whatever. Just whoever the dad was and mom was, they shouldn't have been mating. But it was just interesting how they gravitated to each other, because one looked like the guy figure and the other one looked like the feminine figure.
Over here, almost all the time you see the lesbians, the bull dykes, as they got their hair cut short, high and tight haircuts and big butts.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay.
They look like a full-size midget. I mean, that type of body, just short and stocky and high and tight haircut.
Yeah. I was seeing that when I was working at the bar. And I just said, wow, where did this come from?
Oh, I think I got a delivery out here. Hang on a minute.
Okay. So it just looked like, unfortunately, some were, look like this. And they probably make very good colonels and captains in the Army.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Ed. Wow.
Yeah. So it's just stuff that, I don't think about it much until I think about it.
That's
Yeah.
interesting, Johnny.
Wow. So, and then I remember my little brother's first wife. She was in the military, and she
Mhm.
was totally, well, like totally flat. I mean, like,
Okay.
not, what do they call them? Like, is it C cups?
Oh boy.
That's the smallest one, right? The C?
It's smallish, yeah.
No. It was an A cup.
Probably there. Hey.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, this guy was an A, but it was almost like he was marrying like a female dude, and I don't, she had longer hair, but it was almost like that figure was like she was just straight, zoom, right?
Right. Straight up and down.
Yeah, and that lasted maybe a year.
Hmm.
Who knows? I never asked him like, well, what happened, you know? And but anyway, because his thing was like the rest of us, we waited until we got older to get married, and he was like 20, 21. He said, I'm not gonna wait until I'm old like you guys. And I figured out there's a reason we waited until we got older,
Yeah, shoot. I want to say I was like 30, 31 when I got married. Gosh, I don't remember. Of
Yeah,
course, it still didn't end well, but that's another story.
yeah. And then thinking about that, I mean, I guess there was a time maybe when our lifespan was shorter, I guess. But
Yeah.
what these guys were, I was looking. Oh, this 1943. This lady, they do these stories and biographies of these people, and she was this famous opera singer in 1943, when she
Yeah.
was 18, and so she met this guy when she was 14, and they dated all the way through, um, all the way through like when she was 18. Then she had to make a decision, no, 17, and she had to make a decision to become this opera singer in New York, and then he's going to school in Texas, or she's gonna stay back in this little town with her friends and basically do not do wait for a guy to marry her, so to take care of her. But
Wow.
she went the other direction, became this great opera singer, and on this radio show, they used the real person, 1943, the real
Wow.
person. I don't remember her name because it's those shows that they play those old time talk, well, radio shows kind of thing. And I just thought, and I've always thought like, man, 18, I mean, you just have been in the world for 14 years, you fell in love with this person, and it happens to some people, and then you stay with that person for the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and man, I just couldn't wrap my head around that.
Yep. And then sometimes, in the immortal words of Mr. Spock, love is a wreath of pretty flowers that smell bad.
Yeah, I know. Hey, oh, by the way, thanks for giving me that audio vault. I downloaded all 3 years of Star Trek.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
That's
instead
awesome.
of yeah, instead of watching Star Trek without the audio description
Right.
at 6 o'clock, I'm just gonna click on that.
Some of them have audio description, others of them do not, but I think most of them do. I'm not absolutely sure which ones do or which ones don't.
Well,
There's
I
also, they've
was
got a
really
bunch of
pleased.
other cool stuff too. So,
Now, I want
Yeah, I
what?
enjoy sci-fi audiobooks like Heinlein and stuff like that.
oh, yeah.
I've got a bunch of audiobooks on the sci-fi stuff, and it makes you use your imagination.
Yeah,
It's funny because Heinlein, some of the old classics and stuff, when you pick them up versus back in the day when you maybe have had read them and things, Stranger in a Strange Land or some of the other stuff like To Sail Beyond the Sunset, things like this.
Orphans of the Sky.
Yeah. Yeah, you look at some of this stuff and you're like, uh some of the concepts are pretty crazy. They're pretty out there. But you look at the things and you're like, well, it's no more crazy or out there than what we got going these days.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, they've got some pretty good concepts, some things that might work. If we were to really follow the golden rule, which is kind of like doing unto others as you would have uh, things done for you, or this kind of thing. It's more, it's more how you want to be treated, this kind of thing.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah. Hey, this way, because I saw this topic and I thought about it, and
Right.
then and because of the stuff I know, it's like, why don't most the indie artists market themselves? And I was thinking about that because just little bits and bits. But what I found out, okay, this is going to be my number one thing.
Mhm.
When you figure out that some of the budgets, if you just want to just start, is $20,000. Now, if you got
Okay.
$20,000 laying around, okay,
Okay.
knock yourself out. But if
Okay.
you don't have $20,000 just laying around, that's a lot of money to and I guess it could be done. If you work 2 or 3 jobs, you could put that away and put that away and put that away. But most indie artists, they just want to, do the music, go from, if they do clubbing, they do that kind of stuff. But I'm just thinking like 20,000. Then you add maybe $5,000 per song, right?
Okay.
And some people, they raise that kind of money to do each song to get it just right. And but you but it's mostly this money thing that they put on. And now, when we got our recording studios where we can have them in our house, garage band and all those things, that did bring it down. But even though the prices are still there, thousands of recordings come out each year. And when they used to have CD stores,
Sure.
I used to go there, man.
Record
Yeah, record store. Well, yeah, even record stores. I used to go to like a bunch of albums that I never even heard of these people, but they have the album there. So they keep the ones that the big companies promote. They keep up in front, and then the other ones. But I would just go through all these CDs in summertime, and then I used to love it when they had the listening boxes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then you could say, well, I never heard of these guys, but let me see what they sound like, and then you could become a new fan,
Absolutely.
right? And I guess Spotify is kind of like a listening box.
So is SoundCloud.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely SoundCloud too. And then of course,
And BandLab is another one is also
BandClub. I think
the
they're a
cakewalk.
step above because they have these different things to help promote the artist. And I forgot if
Yeah,
they charge anything.
yeah, they
They
do.
do, but it's,
They do.
man,
Yeah.
it's worth it. It's totally, well, I don't want to promote them too much, but man, I think they're worth it. Check out their packages. They're really cool.
Right.
Um, but
So,
it's not just indie artists, that have some difficulty in trying to promote themselves or invest in their own creation. A
hmm,
lot of times what happens is you'll want to try to save what money you can. So let's say you'll purchase a digital audio workstation, uh, because obviously you can get similar ideas, make the music quickly, and have it ready for production. You don't necessarily need a band behind you, and lots of indie artists are into just, they're kind of like beat makers of, back in the day, or what do you call those guys that made oh, what is that, like a Paul Oakenfold kind of people, you know uh they were kind of like turntable spinners, DJs that would make beats. Yeah, they would just do it for the fun of it. Sometimes they would lose um the business aspect in just wanting to create and get their artwork out there. You know, I suspect that's what happens today, especially with any independent artist, is the idea that really I have to invest in myself to actually maybe go further than I would normally. I mean, that really does include going and taking really boring classes in, say, marketing, where it
Yeah.
talks about algorithms and how to set up your YouTube versus a Patreon account versus some of this other stuff that some of these other platforms.
Hey, speaking of algorithm, do you think that because Zuckerberg can look behind the curtain and he sees what the Democrats are doing, and then he sees the real numbers, maybe he's trying to get on the right side, not to get slammed?
It's hard to say. I mean, we are just under 60 days or something like that out from the most important election in history, some would say. A lot of people are talking about black swan events. A lot of people are talking about, oh, just whatever. God's on the throne.
Yes.
He knows how things are going to transpire. I mean, he knows how things are going to shake out, both on an individual level, with what's going to happen with me or whatever, from one day to the next.
Sometimes you feel like just turning off the radio for a while and just say, hey, because sometimes I'll depends on what night it is. I'll leave the radio on and it's in the background, and then I'll wake up, listen to the news, and then if I hear the same, because last night they were heavily pumping on Chameleon Harris changing her voice for Detroit, and then going over to this other union, and then changing her voice for that union, and it almost like deja vu, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
And it's almost like
she suddenly became black.
Yeah.
She's not black.
Yeah, she's a
What's
Canadian
her dad?
kid.
Her mother's Indian, and her father is Jamaican.
Right. And Irish.
Yeah. So it's like, how do you get black out of that?
Yeah, and he doesn't claim anything like that.
He's not black.
Yeah, and he doesn't claim any of that stuff. He just,
I was thinking about that. I have American Native heritage, and certainly I'm not afraid to claim that. But when I fill out paperwork and stuff, I don't even think about it. I mean, I just, I'm a Caucasian dude. I don't think about that.
And Elizabeth Warren, she thought about it, and she got some scholarships because of it, but she wasn't any of it.
I know. I really kick myself because it's like, you mean I could really have free this and free that? Because I get quite a bit of Apache and Blackfoot and Comanche or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know. And my grandma's dead, so I can't ask her. Suppose I could ask my uncle, hey, what do we got? But it doesn't bother me any, because I'm an American first. That's the big thing.
Well, you see these people that, there was a movie out, and I guess this white kid, he wanted to get into his college, and they only had so many for like black students or whatever. And so, he tanned his face a little bit. It was this weird, these movies, they're like, and so this one girl, she's black, and he met her and he really started liking her, but she was a single mom, but he got the scholarship that she would have gotten.
Oh.
Right. And so, these movies, they come along and then they just disappear. I don't even remember the name of the movie.
Something tells me it's one of those ones.
Back in the 60s, we had a book that was required reading called Black Like Me.
Oh yeah, I remember reading that book.
Yeah,
and I remember he was hitchhiking, right? And this guy, he says, well, I heard that black people are like this. He says, can I see? And I'm thinking, like, man, wouldn't that be kind of creepy? Oh man.
Hey, Teacher John, let me whip this here thing out.
Excuse me while I whip this out. There was that Blazing Saddles. I don't remember.
Oh yeah,
hey, blind baby.
Oh man. Yeah, I
What
remember.
Disney ding dong you talking about?
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah, I remember, man. And then they made a movie. I don't know if they put that part in the, but I remember. I don't know if I read because I read the book and I saw the movie. So in those cases, things kind of fade off because you get more out of the book than you ever do get out of like the movie. It's like
Yeah.
so these it's like so that big controversy with Harrison changing the voice, but it's almost like it's almost like deja vu, or maybe they just say, well, it worked before, and maybe this is another generation that didn't see that, and
Yep.
maybe we can the older ones would just go along to get along,
Right.
and we can just fool this next generation.
Why not?
You know,
Absolutely. Why
but
not?
if we thought evil like that, if we thought like that, man, could you imagine the stuff that, okay. In the 70s, 80s, they had these guys they were like the power guys. And they would do these acts of strength and talk kids like say, hey, you don't have to be a gay and you can be one of us, and that kind of stuff. And the last show I saw was like in 1983 when they took these water bottles and they blew them up. And then they got so big that they exploded. And it was like those guys coming, just, but I think that could come along again and I think it could be just as exciting because it's physical strength and no, what is it called? AI is just people doing stuff that most people can't do, right?
That's an interesting point. So the idea being is it possible for humanity to rediscover itself? Is it possible for humanity to rediscover its potential, both as men and as women, uh, working in tandem with each other,
Yeah.
using AI, maybe not using AI, certainly not depending on
Yeah.
AI, but more to the point, rediscovering that humanity. Man, now I'm doing a camel word salad here.
I know. Hey, let's get to this one. This guy, this a rapper named Fatman Scoop.
Yeah. Well, tell me
Now,
a little bit about Fatman Scoop.
okay, now you remember, okay, Rick James, he stepped out of the limelight for a while and started smoking crack
Right.
and abducting allegedly girls
Allegedly. Right.
and all that
Right.
kind of stuff. And then he decided, I'm gonna go back and do Rick James. But who knows how many pounds heavier, not really working out. He came to Colorado, Denver. He did a show where he was trying to do everything he was doing when he was a slender guy in shape and maybe not eating as well, but still he was, a young guy.
Help me
And
out.
then
Rick James is a comedian?
no, Rick
No,
James,
no, a singer.
yeah, he's a singer. He did this song
Pop star.
Super Freak.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So he's the one who did the song Super Freak. And
Okay.
and so he came back and he tried to do the same kind of stage performance he did when he was in his 30s,
30s,
maybe.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he came to Denver when the altitude is higher. And I see this happen to guys, boys and men. They came to Denver, they would at Texas, Colorado,
Ugh.
and they said, man, we're getting out of breath.
Right.
And once again, these guys, when they came here the first time, when my stepson was 14, I took him to the concert, they were 18 years old. Then spin forward, now they're like 40, 50 years old, right? And they're trying to do the same show they did when they were 18 years old.
The
Right?
thing about doing that in Denver, though, is the altitude. If you
Yes.
aren't used to that altitude, it's going to kill you.
Yeah. And
I
I
did
know,
karate tournaments and stuff, and Denver was so bad, but you go to Colorado Springs and try to do a tournament,
Yeah.
totally different story because the height,
Yeah.
the altitude.
yeah. And I have a feeling that this guy, you look at the name, that's the name,
Yeah.
Fatman So it wasn't Slim. And I just figured like there was something. And then, you know how this, the pharmaceutical and the food and drugs, they want to promote fatness and eating just crazy food and not taking care of yourself and process and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I think he was just a product of the times. And then when you make so much money and there's a lot of sitting around, bus riding, hotels, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And it's no surprise that if you're not taking care of yourself, you're just a commodity. You're making money for the company. Are they really going to say, no, give me that donut? Oh, when you read, I think the first book that Sammy Davis Jr. wrote, I think it's called Why Me. He had a guy in his crew that Sammy had that discipline where he could stop eating the donuts and stuff like that. And this guy who was grabbing these donuts, and he took the donut out of the guy's hand, and he says, "No, you know, I've got to." Could you imagine? And the guy, you know, he was just working for Sammy. He wasn't on stage with Sammy, and Sammy was controlling. And it's just these little things I see in books. So this guy, even though you know who knows what his drug habits were, he probably had a few, whatever. But nobody was saying, hey, you know, maybe, you know, between shows we should work out a little bit, you know, change our diet a little bit. And his persona was, because he probably was this way as a kid, you know, baby fat and whatever. So that became his persona, and he couldn't become Slim Scoop because that was his persona, and that's how he made it. So he had to stay in that pocket.
So he's up on stage fulfilling his musical niche.
Right.
And so what happens?
So they
to
said
him?
he had a medical incident, which really means he had a heart attack or stroke. You know,
And
When you first
he
started talking about this, Wayne Newton came to my mind. I couldn't
Wait.
get rid of it.
Wayne
Wayne
Newton.
wait, is he gained quite a bit?
What? He's
Well,
always heavy.
yeah,
he's
he's
al-
always
he's-
been
He's always been.
pretty
he's
heavy.
always been
To think
yeah.
somebody like Wayne Newton flocking around on stage.
He's been around forever. I mean, Wayne
Yeah.
Newton is he's been in Vegas forever.
Now,
Yeah.
and it
But,
worked. And it worked for Meatloaf.
Yeah.
It
Worked for
him.
Meatloaf. Yeah.
Yeah,
Worked for him.
Yeah, but not
Worked for Mama
everybody.
Cass till she choked on the ham sandwich.
Oh yeah, that was kind of weird, man. That was kind of
Yeah,
weird,
all those
man.
comedians do the same stuff too. John Candy.
John,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So it's just that, you know, jumping around like that when you're younger, you know, there's a level of yes, you can do that because everything's young in your body. But if you keep doing that kind of stuff and you're still at that not healthy weight and you're still, and nobody's gotten around you to the same thing, like Lizzo, which I think she's trying to reverse that kind of stuff, but she gets very offended just because, you know, she fell into the trap of I can eat whatever I want, and the media will say this is beautiful. And if you push back on it, then you're fat shaming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. So I have a feeling that I don't know if we're going to find out this year, because you know with Sinead O'Connor, we didn't find out until the year after what had happened. And I think Prince, the same thing. It was almost like a year after. And so I don't know why it takes so long for this stuff to come out.
You mean as to their
the reason why they died.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so
it is interesting. It is interesting. Some people of the conspiratorium, you know, they sometimes believe that they kind of got too far into some circles and didn't want to play the game. And well,
yeah.
You know.
And then Elvis, now Eddie Murphy would used to make fun, like he would do Elvis and then he would do the stand, and then he would act like the pants split. And
Right.
I didn't that happen to Elvis one time, that his pants did split in the back,
Boy.
like because it's a joke, but
Boy,
sometimes
something
jokes.
tells me that there was some show that he was at.
The jumpsuit.
Gosh, was it Vegas? I almost want to say it was a Vegas show. Toss that down in the comments. Anybody who's watching this.
Yeah.
And,
Do you
what I mean?
know?
Do you
was
know
it
which
just-
one?
Was it an Eddie Murphy just joke, or was it based off of something that really happened?
Yeah.
Oh man. So
That's
anyway,
hilarious.
so if you
On TV shows back in the day, they wouldn't put cameras on Elvis's lower body because of his gyration.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
well, 50s, man, that was a different time, man. And I heard, see, he at first I saw the song he did, nothing but a hot dog. He performed that live on TV before it was even recorded.
Yeah, 1956.
56.
Yeah.
And he
Ed
was on
Sullivan.
no.
Wasn't
I think it was Milton Berle.
Or was it Milton?
Yes.
Wow.
Because I listen to a lot of old time. I listen to a lot of old time stuff. So I pick up these little facts that I never knew because they leave it as a cliffhanger and say, we'll be right back after this commercial. And of course, you got to wait until the commercial to hear what the fact was about that.
Absolutely.
So anyway, so yeah. So farewell to
Scoop Man, Fat
Scoop.
Fat Scoop Man, Fatman Scoop, whatever his name is.
Oh man.
Sorry, rest
So-
in peace. Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
I'm gonna go listen to some of his music. I didn't even think about even listening to his music. I figured he's gone. It's not like he was a Tupac or anything like that,
Right? Yeah.
but so maybe I'll go check some of his music out and see.
Hey,
So-
you don't have to die for us to talk about you and Innervision FM. Hit us up at
Info at innervisionrecords.org.
there you go.
All right.
We'll
Hey,
get
we'll
your
see you
stuff
tomorrow.
out there.
We'll see you tomorrow. And happy birthday to Mike Sesprick. He was he was born with a disability, and his mother and really took care of him. He's been in Wilford. Then he has one of the lung things that helps him breathe. I think he's 54 years old.
Wow.
And he got married, had a son. And I really want to tip my hat to Mike Sesprick. He leads a Bible study at his church, and he's staying active even though he's in a situation where he's in his wheelchair, and he can draw a lot of people. We had a Bible study down on Champa Street, and on Sundays, and people came off the street. It was like the place were packed. And so
wow, Johnny, that is a story right there. I got to tell you, I'm personally in a bad situation, where you want to give up. And when you hear about stories like that, it just gives you hope. It gives you the idea that, man, it's still possible to keep going, keep trying, keep going, just whatever.
So
God's good. Thank you, Johnny.
Happy birthday, Mike Sesprick. And to anybody else has a birthday today, happy birthday to you as well. Leave it down if your birthday is today too.
Wow.
All right, man. See you tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. God bless everybody.